company, Rio is very supportive of peaceful protest. What we saw tonight was not peaceful protest, and we saw people who wanted to come and were curious and wanted to have a dialogue prevented from coming to this event. And for that, I apologise to the people from the community who invited us, because they couldn't have that session. And we will look to try and engage them in other ways. And you know, our focus of engaging with communities in Serbia, with the people who ultimately will decide what happens with this project, is unchanged. And again, we see that there is a level of misinformation, and we saw tonight a refusal from some project opponents to engage in a fact-based dialogue.
Okay, but can we talk about those who invited you?
They're general citizens. So a lot of our events have come where we've been invited by general citizens, as we were tonight, for people who have a question, whether it's a question, legitimate questions around ESG standards that we employ, around how we will employ 21st century mining, how we will look at things like community-based monitoring programs to show transparency, where the community will monitor environmental impacts themselves and then compare it to what we transparently will put up on our website or anything like that. This is where 21st century mining is going today.
Okay, but at the end, when you cancelled and announced that you cancelled the presentation, you said it will be scheduled for another day.
I think we'll have to talk to people who registered their interest to see if we hold another event, we do a virtual event, we invite them to another event. That's something I think we have to digest, and it's really up to the people who expressed interest to see whether or not they would like to attend another event, attend a virtual event. But again, I think it's a real shame they were prevented tonight from being able to have that fact-based dialogue.
So does it mean that you didn't explore the situation on the field and to know in advance what you will experience tonight?
Well, look, we support, as I said before, we support public protest in accordance with Serbian regulations, and what we saw tonight was not that. We invited the project opponents who were milling outside, we invited them in to participate in the presentation, and they then elected to block the presentation. And that's disappointing, because we would have liked them to ask us any question at all, and we were prepared to have them in the room, as you saw, and they didn't want to have that dialogue, and I think it's a shame.
Regarding the project itself, I'm interested in how many tons specifically will be industrial waste and how many tons will be the mining waste.
We are committing to releasing draft environmental impact assessments. They are as-is drafts. They won't be completed because we haven't been able to get out in the field for the last 2 years, but it will have all of that information. It will be prepared from over 40 international experts and companies, and it will be, in my view, it will be the most comprehensive environmental impact assessment, even in draft, in Serbia's history.
Mine in the ground, it cannot be called sustainable mining.
Any mine will have environmental impacts, absolutely. I think the mine design we've got, the 21st century mine design, is probably the lowest impact mining that you could have. And our commitment to transparency, to community-led monitoring programs, to adhering to European as well as Serbian standards and saying, don't just trust us, come and verify with community-led monitoring programs, that's so important. And I think without mining, without critical raw materials, there is no digital transition, there's no green transition, we can't fight climate change. The question is not, do we need these critical raw materials? It's how do we do it? We need them, but how do we do it responsibly with minimal impact to the environment? If we can answer that question, what are the benefits in terms of high-skilled, high-paying jobs, taxes, downstream industries, batteries, electric vehicles, recycling? And then how do we look at circular economy concepts like waste? How do we turn waste into value-adding products rather than depositing them?
You cannot tell me the numbers about the industrial and mining waste. You
Again,
don't have it?
We will have that in our draft study, so I don't want to preempt that. With our draft study, it will be made available. We will release that publicly. It will be on our website. We will release it for public comment.
Okay, will you be back in Valjevo?
It's really up to the people who invited us to decide what
But
happens
they
next.
send, I think they send a clear message that you're not wanted here. So
I
I'm
think-
just interested in how you comprehend that message.
Well, we saw the opponent's message, but the people that invited us, the people that were prevented from coming in by these protesters, were prevented from coming into this session they invited us to, that is not peaceful protest.
I told you before that Valjeva people are very special. If you read our history, our cities and our part of the Serbia is very famous for its historical movements in the First World War, Second World War, the first rouse against the Ottoman Empire. So we are, I think, brave and clear in sending message, and we're not afraid to say it. So I think that you maybe now understand what was I saying before.
We respect the people of Valjevo, we respect the people of Serbia, and again, we want to have a fact-based dialogue.